Hey, it's me again. Voice note 32, part 2. It's Tuesday, the 25th of August 2026. It's 4:55 p.m. I was thinking I had a flashback about my friend. He is a Scorpio and I miss this guy because he was so caring. He was genuinely such a sweet person and such a good human being. And not only because, first of all, he did something once that really shocked me because I was not prepared for this guy to stand up for me. He did it because he basically looked at the situation and went, "Oh no, you are not going to do that to her again," because he had been witnessing what was happening for days, if not weeks. And what was so interesting was he saw right through the situation while I wasn't even fully aware of what was happening. My fake ex-husband was at this time trying everything to smear my name. And he did, but this guy saw through it. And mind you, we were very young. I think he was a bit older than me, but we were both in our early 20s. He was able to see exactly what was happening because he was experiencing me on a daily basis. So he was basically like, no, she's not the problem because I know this girl, she's next to me every single day. I work with her, she's not the person you are trying to portray her as. The smear campaign, if you know, you know. And I think he is one of the rare people who ever actually did something in the sense of, yeah, I am going to stand up for you because apparently no one else is doing anything. And it was almost like doing so was considered a sin. He was like, no, I'm going to put myself in front of your ex and my attitude is going to be, you should leave. And if you don't leave, well, if you know, you know. It is so funny because you would think this is something connected to the old guy is going to defend you fantasy, but it has nothing to do with that. And if you know me, you know I like tall guys. I love tall guys, but a tall guy who isn't going to stand up for me when something is clearly unfair, I'm like, oh, you out of my life. Meanwhile, this guy had absolutely nothing to do with being tall, very far from it, but he had this attitude of, I don't care who you are, if I see something that's unfair, I'm going to say something. And honestly, from a dating perspective, this is one of the biggest green flags. Because it has nothing to do with being a violent man. It has everything to do with being someone who isn't afraid to stand up against something he perceives as unfair. Very Scorpio, if you ask me. It's almost a philosophy of life. They don't necessarily like unfair situations. And when they see one, they are like, no, this is not happening. Maybe he liked me in addition to that, maybe. But that's beside the point. First and foremost, he was just being a decent human being, actually more than decent. And yeah, I miss this guy because, as I said, he was able to see through so many things that I wasn't even realizing at this time. I knew the situation was abnormal, I just didn't know that I was experiencing smear campaign. Awareness and knowledge are bliss. Thank God for them. And I don't think I have ever really been around someone like him again. We worked together a lot and he was just so caring, genuinely caring. And this is honestly one of the greenest flags you can find from a dating perspective, even though I knew I was never going to go there with him because he was actually my friend. Maybe he did have that little I like her thing going on, I don't know. But he was much more interested in being my friend and being a good human being than trying to turn that into something else. And I really respected that. Another quality I think they can have in general is that they are going to tell you what you don't necessarily want to hear, not because they want to hurt you, but because they care. And this was actually so funny because this guy and the Aquarius I was working with absolutely could not stand each other. It was hilarious to me. I have rarely seen an Aquarius genuinely be in his feeling and be like, I don't like this guy. You know what I mean? Because usually they just don't care. But these two, they couldn't bear each other. And honestly, I liked them both. They were completely different, but yeah, I liked them both. And he was basically like, please, please, I am a man, just don't go with him. Not don't go with him so you can be with me. No, just don't go with this guy. Little did he know it wasn't meant to happen anyway. But he was protective in that sense. He was like, yeah, he's just not... I know you think he is all that, but he's not. And he knew the guy was playing with my feelings. He knew it wasn't genuine, and he was very subtle about it. He wasn't rude. He wasn't trying to tell me what to do. He was just like, you know he's not genuine when it comes to his feeling. You know he's playing with your feelings. You know he still has a girlfriend, right? And I was like, yeah, of course I know. That's exactly why nothing was ever going to happen. Not only because he had a girlfriend, because again, I could tell you now, it simply wasn't meant to happen. But I think this is such a beautiful quality in a person, even though I don't necessarily think Scorpio is the best match for a Gemini romantically. Not often, if you ask me, but on a friendship level, yeah, definitely. He was an amazing friend. He was basically saying, I'm going to tell you because I would rather tell you the truth than watch you get hurt by a guy who clearly doesn't deserve you. And that is rare because he didn't have anything to gain from doing it. Maybe he liked me personally, sure, but he was doing it because he valued me as a friend first, and that's what you want. You want someone who can tell you the truth, someone who can tell you something you don't want to hear without making you feel stupid for not knowing it already. He wasn't like, I'm going to be harsh because I am helping you. No. He just had the right tone. And again, that is very rare. So yeah, I kind of miss this friend. And that's it. I will talk to you in another voice note I sent to myself. Bye!